of the exit polls? No, I don't think so. I think that'd be concern over the accuracy of the reported results, don't you think? Because you see, as I put in that 1 minute liner that we've been playing today, one of the ways easiest ways, most direct ways to understand if there's voter fraud is to actually ask the people who showed up at the polls and voted as they're walking out of the poll. Who did you vote for? And we have that in the United States in our elections. It's run by one organization. They do it as a pool for all of the mainstream media. They do it for all the cable companies, Fox, CNN, others, AP, UPI, all these, well, I don't think UPI is around anymore, but they do it for AP. They do it for CBS, NBC, ABC, CBS, NBC. But you never see the results in America. Our State Department, when it looks at the results from foreign countries' exit polls, they look at it and they say, hey, if this is more than 2%, we suspect fraud. We have situations here where Hillary was running against Bernie in the primaries. We've got 11 states where Hillary got between 5 and 10% more in the reported results than she did out of the exit polls. And so there's an organization, as I've reported before, that is putting together a possible racketeering lawsuit against that. They're waiting to get the information out of California about that. We've seen this happen before in Brazil. In Brazil, the woman have been trying to impeach, and I haven't kept up with that. I don't know what happened with that. But I know that when she ran in 2014, she was behind 9.6% in the polls, then won. Electronic voting machines and no exit polls. That's the way they do it, folks. When we come back, we're going to have Alex Jones joining us.
The Empire.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm your host, Alex Jones. I'm about to throw to a very important video report that's posted at Infowars.com by John Bowen that really boils my blood. Now, I get Google alerts sent to my so-called smartphone when Infowars.com or the words Alex Jones are basically in a major news story. And so I get hundreds, if not thousands of different links sent to me a day. Sometimes there are thousands of articles a day that have Infowars.com or the words Alex Jones in it. Not to mention Prison Planet or Paul Watson or Joe Biggs or Jakari Jackson or Leanne Macker, the list goes on. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm simply pointing out to listeners, Infowars is having a huge effect. Now, let's talk about, though, where Infowars.com or Alex Jones are being discussed. I'm not talking about a Google alert when just someone says my name on the web. That'd be hundreds of thousands or millions of times a day. I'm talking about Google News aggregate that is of so-called establishment news sites. We're talking thousands of links a day, some days, always hundreds. And it is vicious attacks, it is disinformation, it is outright lies, it is total fabrication. And some people would say, Alex, we really feel sorry for you. Isn't that terrible? I want to tell the listeners, this is wonderful, fabulous, fantastic news. To be targeted like this, to have them try to assassinate my name and my crew's name and Infowars' name shows we are over the target. To use the old World War II analogy that we use so much because it's so perfect, they didn't really have good ways of detecting, especially in cloudy weather, where the cities were or the bases or the factories they were bombing. But they would steer towards the flak or the anti-aircraft shells that were bursting in the air and then sending out ribbons of steel. They would fly basically into those clouds because they knew that directly below it was the main targets they were hitting. If one B-17 could get a few bombs into, say, a Panzer tank factory, that could save tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of lives. So those pilots were there risking themselves. Well, all I'm risking is my name and a bunch of zombies that still read mainstream news. And most of the people that read mainstream news aren't even zombies. I mean, I harp on this because it's so important. We're talking about, again, a 6% approval rating in a national poll the Associated Press did. 6% of people trust mainstream media. 6%. Now, again, I know I harp on that every day. Just think about that. This is a discredited group of trash. Now, with that said, though, boy, yesterday and today, I got over 100 links sent to me out of New York Daily News, out of Idaho Statesman, out of Twin Falls Times, out of Salon, out of the Daily Beast, all the so-called liberal publications, with headlines like this: story of Syrian refugees raping Idaho girl is false. Or they've got other ones saying, right-wing conspiracy sites push false story about Syrian refugees raping girl. You can go see these for yourself. Of course, Snopes, run by one lady and her cat, is the authority and wades in and says none of it's true. It didn't happen. And when you go read the articles, it's incredible. They go, oh, you got caught in disinformation. This all just came from the internet, places like Infowars.com and message boards. And they weren't Syrian refugees. No, they were from other Middle Eastern countries. Well, we know that. That's our whole point. Most of the so-called Syrian refugees are invaders that went into Syria with ISIS and Al-Qaeda, got their butts kicked, and then came through Europe and then to the United States. So Syrian refugee is just a term for Muslims from Africa and the Middle East and Asia, Central Asia being brought in. Okay, so we're not discredited there. We link to local news reports, TV and print, with the people at city council saying you covered up this rape. Then they go on to say, well, we've arrested these youth, but they didn't rape her. They touched her, but we're just going to stop there. So they're judge, jury, and executioner, and the whole case is sealed. So the story's not a hoax, even according to police. People were arrested. And the town is saying there's a cover-up. Then they go on to say, the right-wingers always claim that refugees rape people. All over Europe, from Sweden to Germany to France to Spain to Portugal to Greece to Italy, they cover up the refugees and the crime waves and the mass rapings until it gets so bad that refugees are running around pooping on the street, pooping in pools, shooting guns in the air that are illegal, running around grabbing and raping hundreds of women at a time. The German mayors come out and say, don't wear short miniskirts, or we've got to ban Oktoberfest or have it behind closed doors because it makes the Muslims angry. On and on and on. I mean, the first time it was fake? No, it wasn't. The second time, was it a fake story? No, it wasn't. The 500th time, was it a fake story? No. The 10,000th time? It's over 10,000 reported rapes the last year by Islamicists in France alone. It got to the point now where France, Sweden, and Germany are ordering police not to put where the person's from. And then they just say that a Frenchman raped, or they say a German raped. This Muslim that stabbed 2 police officers last week in France, he wasn't even from France, but they put him up on TV and said, the Frenchman. The Frenchman was from North Africa. The Frenchman was from Pluto. The Frenchman was from Mars. The Frenchman was from Toledo, Ohio. The Frenchman was from Japan. Anywhere but France. So on and on and on. This is the culture. Any unattended woman can be raped. This is what goes on in these countries. These countries are the most backward scum holes you can imagine, where in Saudi Arabia, if a woman gets raped, they execute her. It's her fault she got raped. They throw acid on women's faces, all this. And then they sit there with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles with my name in it and InfoWars name saying I'm a liar when we didn't even discover the story. We reported it like 15th hand after it had been in 3 TV stations and 2 newspapers at least that we sourced in our article that was mainstream. Our headline said that people were protesting at the city council alleging a cover-up of an alleged rape. So we didn't say that there'd been a rape. We went with their headline, there'd been an alleged rape, and there was a big controversy about it. And then Drudge Report picked up our journalistic story that broke down what people were saying. Now, I don't know whether the little girl was raped or not, or whether she was urinated on. I don't know that. But that's exactly what people from the very same countries have been caught doing all over Europe. And we have thousands of videos of them carjacking people, hundreds of videos of the mass raping and groping and going insane and crazy. And then you sit there and use your magic word because you're such big intellectuals and say that I'm a conspiracy theorist and that none of this exists. So am I worried about these type of attacks? No, because the 6% that read these publications and believe it are brain dead Stockholm Syndrome victims who don't know what planet they're living on. I will continue to tell the truth. I will continue to seek out the truth. I will continue to take action against tyrants. I will continue to never back down. And I know our supporters are taking action as well. You can try to censor the internet. You can try to lie about us. You can try to do whatever you want. We're going to move forward, and we're going to expose your new world order. More of Paul Watson coming up, more of David Knight and others co-hosting while I'm on the road. But first, this powerful John Bowne report recapping what I just broke down. But you can go read these articles and see how they are the anatomies of deception. They are the very tissue of lies. I mean, just so many other lies I didn't get to. Okay? Implying we said it was a rape. We reported on the controversy. Implying we were wrong about where the refugees are from. No, we document this is the cover for the total invasion. And then implying, and the bigger angle is they're authorizing a mosque to be built for them and not authorizing locals to even do repairs on their houses. They roll out the red carpet for these people. We need to have a serious discussion about the real numbers of these folks being brought in. It's probably 100 times what we're being told conservatively. All right, here is John Bowne's powerful report, and then back to the live crew in Austin, Texas, London, England, and more.
3 Syrian refugees reportedly raped a little girl at Knife Point in Idaho before urinating on her body, an incident that prompted furious residents to accuse Twin Falls City Council members of covering up the assault. The sexual assault allegedly took place on June 2nd, but has received virtually no media attention aside from one vague KMVT report. However, residents have been circulating what really happened on social media, with the Creeping Sharia blog reporting that the victim was a young girl who was born premature and is less developed for her age. The victim's grandmother found the victim and then called the girl's mother, who called the police. The police took 2.5 hours to arrive, but were unable to take any action due to the language barrier. When she arrived, the mother of the alleged rapist was only able to say, "No police," while the father reportedly congratulated his 13-year-old son. Video of the entire assault was captured on the boy's cell phone. But according to the Idaho Statesman, the Twin Falls County prosecutor, Grant Loeb, says there were no Syrians involved, there was no knife involved, and there was no gang rape. Loeb continued, "There is a small group of people in Twin Falls County whose life goal is to eliminate refugees, and thus far they have not been constrained by the truth. They have not been constrained by the truth in the past, and I don't expect them to be constrained by the truth in the future. Truth. These supposed city leaders would have the good people of Twin Falls believe there isn't any invasion of psychotic refugees gradually flooding the United States that will soon resemble the horror transpiring in Europe. Just listen to your elected leaders. They know best, right? Well,
so the first item is general public input. If there is anyone here from the public who wishes to address the council on an issue that is not on tonight's agenda, now is your chance to please come forward.
We've been made aware of a situation, an alleged assault of a minor child, and we can't get any information on it. Apparently, it's been indicated that it was the perpetrators were 4 Muslim youth that conducted this I guess it was a rape, and we've heard that it's consensual, but my concern is there's no such thing as consensual rape of a minor.
I am telling you, I am not aware of a news story about allegations of an assault against a minor in our community by Islamists.
Idaho's First News has confirmed that a reported sexual assault around the Fawnbrook Apartments in Twin Falls is being investigated by the Twin Falls Police Department. The incident allegedly occurred on June 2nd. Twin Falls County Prosecutor Grant Lopes has confirmed the investigation, but says there will be no charges filed in the case until the investigation is complete. Unconfirmed reports concerning the case are circulating on social media, but no one will comment officially on the case while it is still under investigation.
Where is the national media on this story? The only outrage is actually from the politically correct downplaying the crime, as Snopes.com has labeled the information circulating on the web as mostly false. And it appears Loeb actually was right. Technically, the minors accused of the assault weren't Syrian. They were from Sudan and Iraq, and the rest of the details are hidden from public view because minors committed the heinous act. Loeb's BS is correct. But rather than protect America's children by getting to the bottom of it and calming any fears brewing within the local community, the Twin Falls City Council would have anyone concerned branded a bigot and a white supremacist. The council was also grilled as to how a mosque was approved after just 24 hours, whereas